Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is early. The sun just started, or I guess I should say the sky just started to lighten up. It's like this Christmas in the air, which really does signify to me that fall is here. So I have been getting up a lot earlier, coming outside just to enjoy my cup of coffee in the cold weather, if you can consider 60s cold. But today is Friday, and Fridays I deliver, and I have been making deliveries every Tuesday and Friday since March. And so typically, you know, I'm not always the one making those deliveries. I'm always harvesting on Tuesdays and Fridays. We co-farm with our friends Sean and Melanie. And so typically Sean or Melanie will make those Tuesday deliveries. We'll harvest together. They'll take them back to town and deliver them. And then Friday is usually the days that I am harvesting and delivering. So I wanted to share with you guys and show you what it looks like to make a delivery, what my morning looks like. I know a lot of people wonder how they can bring in income on their homestead. And honestly, cut flowers has been a good venture for us. Out of all the things we do, it's certainly not the most profitable, but if you are looking at like selling vegetables or selling flowers, for me and my market, flowers are more profitable, even per stem, than what I'm selling. You know, some varieties are more profitable per stem than what I was selling some vegetables for per pound. So when you think about that, really let that sink in. It might be a lucrative thing to consider. And so now that school's started, we're trying to figure out a different groove. So Nathan is getting the kids ready, packing lunches. He's going to be taking them to school so that I can come out here and I can harvest. So we deliver all of our flowers to a really cool little farm stand called Bell Urban Farm. Now, I've known Kim for several years and have partnered with her in some capacity. I used to sell her microgreens when I was starting out. I sold her vegetables for many years when I was selling vegetables. They are a cut flower farm. They're an urban farm, and so they're always needing more flowers because they sell a lot of bouquets. So when we decided to move into cut flowers, she was very much so on board to support us. She runs the plant sale that I participate in every single year. So one, it's really fun just to be able to partner with your friends. So that's been fun. But her team makes bouquets every Friday at 8:30. So one of the arrangements is that they have requested that we get our flowers there by 8:30 on Friday morning so that their team can make arrangements and bouquets for the day. Also, when they have customers coming to shop the farm stand, they can literally see their bouquet be made, which is really special. For me as a consumer, I would be enticed to want to buy that. So I think just how they kind of strategize business makes a lot of sense, and it's really welcoming and inviting to our community. And so my plan was last night to come out here and harvest and then just be ready to go this morning. However, we had one kid had a volleyball game. We left there. The other two kids had gymnastics. By the time we got home, it was so dark. I literally just couldn't even see to harvest. So I knew I was going to have to get up early, harvest, take them to the farm stand, and then get started with the day. So these smell so good. These have probably been one of my favorites. So let's harvest really quickly, kiss the kids goodbye, and then head off to town to deliver these. So the next thing we do before I ever make a delivery is something that we call quality control. Now, it's one thing to grow beautiful flowers. It's another thing to grow sellable flowers. And this is something I didn't quite realize until I was in a position where I wanted to start selling flowers. So if you are growing flowers for the backyard gardener, for a bouquet for your, table, you're not really looking at when flowers have bloomed. Stem length probably isn't super important. You're just cutting. You can make it work in whatever type of jar or vase that you have. When you are selling to a consumer, it's quite a bit different. You have to think about bloom quality. You have to think about stem length. Now, dahlias are a bit different. I mentioned in a previous video, we've had some that is just like, what in the world? Like, the stems are horrible, and we're trying to trial these out. But I did want to talk to you about what I mean when I say like quality of bloom. All right, so part of being a grower, and this was very true for vegetables as well, I wouldn't go harvest a tomato at its peakness that I would want to go inside and immediately eat and use. I would harvest tomatoes at first blush. That way I could get them to my chefs and they would have the duration of a week to be able to cook them and offer them in their restaurants. So I couldn't go and harvest a flower at full bloom, take it to my consumer, my market, then make arrangements and have these beautiful blooms available all weekend, but then also the people who are buying them, their blooms not be overbloomed and they'd have them into the new week. So really you have to think about that when you're harvesting. And so you guys can see here, there's so much of this dahlia that is not bloomed out yet. That's perfect because I know I can get this to Kim. She can make arrangements with it. It's going to have all weekend to open up, and it's going to be well into next week before this flower is, done, and they're going to have to toss it. Now, this one is starting to get to where it is already bloomed out a whole bunch, but you can see it's got 3 other buds on it. So this would technically be okay because before this one's done, these will have bloomed again. Our cactus ones, there's still an opening in there. There's still room for this to bloom. And same with our cafe au lait. So that's one thing that we're looking at. We're also really looking at petals, making sure there's no damage to the petals, obviously that would be considered unsellable. But the cool thing about dahlias is you can just go in and remove the petals from the back end so easily. So if we have one that's not fully bloomed out, it meets the quality in that regards. But there's a few holy petals, we'll just go in, snatch those out. You still have a beautiful dahlia. With these dinner plate dahlias, you really can't even tell if we end up having to take like 10 of them out, just because they're so huge. Alright you guys, it would not be a true crazy delivery morning if I didn't spill coffee all over me and had to completely change. One little pro tip of advice I do like to give people is don't be rushed, because that's when mistakes start to happen, and it's true. Always give myself enough time to allot for just any sort of crazy accident, really, because truly you just don't ever know. Like this morning, I was rushing to try to tell the kids bye, and I ended up, like, you know, swiftly sprinting with my coffee, and it ended up all over me. I had to completely change. And so I always like to give myself, like right now, it's an hour before bouquet making needs to start. It takes me about 25-30 minutes to get there. So I know that I'm good in that regards. I've given myself time for traffic. Granted, they're not like, you know, super strict on like, oh my gosh, you got here at 8:45 or 9 o'clock. They're still gonna be making arrangements at that time. However, I just like to be consistent, and I like to deliver upon the same thing. So if you are selling and you've told, you know, a restaurant, a chef, a florist, whoever, that you're going to be there at a certain time, give yourself enough time to allot for the mistakes that might happen to make sure you don't have any issues. All right, you guys, let's go deliver some flowers. Show you guys real quick where they make all of the bouquets, because I think that's really cool. The farm stand's technically closed right now, but I'm going to show you guys real quick. So when I talk about the farm stand, you guys, this is what I am referring to. This is my friend Kim's place. It is a locally sourced grocery store. They sell food, produce, homemade pastas, sauces, tinctures, flowers, like everything you can think of, all made in Arkansas, which is really, really cool to me. They're closed right now, so they open later in the day, and then they stay open later in the afternoon. But what they're doing is really, really cool. We're super happy to have partnered with them. No one was actually out here. I would have kind of taken you around a bit more, but I didn't want to kind of tour their whole farm without anyone being here and show you guys. So hopefully I can do that. But this is what a delivery morning looks like for me. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty fast paced, but I love it. I love connecting. I love passing off blooms from my farm to so many people in our community that's going to end up on their tables and on their kitchen counters, and that's super, super special to me. I absolutely love it. So thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning as I delivered. If you are looking for a lucrative income on your farm, I would really, really highly suggest looking into cut flowers. One, it's stinking fun. And two, it is has the potential to be really profitable and bring in some extra income for your farm. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.